Thank you so much for joining today. My name is SJ and I work at Justuno as the manager of customer success. So I really work with a lot of brands, which is great. And it's been awesome to see how CBD has fit in there and really made their own way in terms of that customer journey. So I'm excited to learn from everyone today and get started.
Awesome. Hey, I'm Jimmy Kim, CEO and co-founder of Sendlane. We're an email and SMS marketing automation platform. I'm excited here today to kind of share some of the learnings that we've had with our CBD clients and cannabis clients as well too, on how you can kind of leverage the power of email and some SMS as well too on with CBD.
Hi guys, I'm Emily Tuttle. I'm a business development manager over at springbig with a focus in the emerging markets. Really excited to talk to you guys today about SMS text marketing, email marketing in the CBD space, especially with some of the challenges that we've seen over the last year. So I'm really excited to talk to you guys about the possibilities there. Thank you.
Hi everyone, Shannon O'Boyle. I'm the marketing director here at Smartrr. Smartrr is the first subscription app built with the end consumer in mind. And we work with a ton of awesome CBD brands, and I'm so excited to share with you some of their marketing trends.
Hey everyone, my name's Andre. I'm a technical solutions specialist at Refersion. Refersion is an affiliate marketing and tracking software. So today I'll just be going over best practices as far as influencer marketing goes in terms of how CBD brands can benefit from that.
Hey everyone, my name is Josh Grelick. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Arctic Leaf. We're a digital agency focusing on e-commerce best practices from a design and development and email marketing or content marketing standpoint. So I'm one of those people that will actually tell you how to use all these awesome tools on how to actually support your brands from an agency perspective. Super excited to be part of this, and thank you, Michael, for having me on this webinar with you guys.
Fantastic. Thank you, Josh, and thank you to the rest of the panelists as well. I'm really excited to be here with y'all to talk about all things CBD. So some really quick logistical items before we dive in. So first and foremost, this webinar is being recorded and it will be sent out to all registrants tomorrow. So if you have to hop early or if you have someone that wants to watch it as well, you'll get the recording tomorrow. And so additionally, throughout the webinar, feel free to throw in any and all questions you have for the panelists. If you have any questions about CBD in general marketing, if it doesn't apply to their solution per se, but it's just a question you have, we're here for you. Please ask us. At the bottom of your screen, there's a little button for the Q&A. You can enter your questions in there. And so yeah, please ask us questions. We are here for you. We want to answer your questions. We want to help you. So throw them there. And then lastly, for this, we have some awesome CBD prizes actually to give away during the webinar. And these will be given out at the halfway point and at the end of the webinar to live attendees. And if you want a chance to get these prizes, I will be selecting the person who asks the best or most creative question around CBD marketing in the chat. So throughout this, if you have a question, throw it in there. And then at the halfway point, I'll be picking one of y'all as lucky CBD winners provided by our generous partners today. So please ask your questions because there's a prize. So yeah, I believe that's it. So we're gonna go ahead and get started and get us kicked off with Josh. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, Josh.
Sorry about that. All right, should be a Zoom master by this point, right? So, all right. So as I said, my name is Josh Grelick. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Arctic Leaf. So Arctic Leaf is a digital agency, been around about 12 years. Focused on mid-market to enterprise e-commerce companies and brands. So everything from the time a consumer or customer lands on an e-commerce store all the way down through the entire buying journey into the loyalty phase is where we focus on. So a couple of things that we really think about and we talk about, we work with a new brand or CBD brand particularly, is understanding the why, right? And I think that a lot of a lot of companies, a lot of people don't ask this question, is like, what are the objectives? What is the goal? What are you trying to accomplish, right? Because without a direction, you're just kind of aimlessly going nowhere. So the way we do that is when someone first comes on and works with Arctic Leaf, we always send out a client survey. So it takes about 15, 20 minutes for the client to actually, or the merchant actually, to fill it out. It talks about brand persona, buying journeys. It talks about who's your ideal customer audience, who your customer market is, price point, average order value, the list size, what you're trying to accomplish. And really, again, it allows my team and Arctic Leaf's team to come in and act as an extension for the brands, essentially acts as an extension of their marketing team to really support the brand. So again, knowing your brand, knowing the brand is half the battle. Again, so just asking the right questions. And I think a lot of that comes down to is like, what type of brand do you want to be? Do you want to be a discount type of company where you're constantly sending out discount codes and bringing people in because it's that kind of, there's always a sale going on, right? That's one opportunity or one option. The other option is you can do something that's a little bit more of a higher, not to say that it's a lower quality, but I'm just saying like to build a higher quality brand where there are certain brands and merchants that never, ever, ever give out a discount. The price is the price. That's what there it is. And if they do something, it's like once or twice a year on, Cyber Monday, Black Friday, things like that. So for me and my team, it's sending out those surveys. We got these great videos talking about the benefits of email marketing, why it's beneficial, where it fits into that phase. And it just makes a lot of sense to understand that why. Because again, if you don't understand that why, you're just you're walking down a road aimlessly, right? Again, sometimes that's fine, right? If you're going for a nice little stroll in the evening or something like that. But that's kind of where we always start. So our playbook, really is it's actually quite analytical. So I threw this kind of piece in there at the end there. It's taking an analytical approach. So everything has an analytical approach. Everything we do is obviously driven by metrics and KPIs and numbers. So if we implement a certain strategy, we generally do that for anywhere between 30 to 90 days, and then we actually evaluate it. At the end of every given month, we write up a pretty significant 30-page plus report with Loom videos going through, hey, this is what we did, here's why we did it, here are the results, and here is the recommendations or the recommended output that we're going to come up with based on those results. So again, you can't do that unless you understand the why. So if you understand the why, you understand the what, and you understand where you're going, then you have the ability to actually make some decisions on the different tools and things that you need. Like all these great partners who are on this call, right, from everywhere from email to referral marketing to affiliate marketing to SMS marketing, right? There's a playbook that we put together, and then sometimes we start with just email. Like I'll be candid, a lot of times we do just start with email without bringing into an SMS strategy, because a lot of times people haven't even identified what their overall strategy is. So a lot of times it's like more of an MVP, bringing it to market. Let's make sure we're seeing an upward positive trend in your overall KPIs, and then implement certain strategies that make sense for where the market or where the brand is going based on the why, right? We also talk about, we work with other marketing agencies. We work with, influencers. There's obviously a lot of legalities and things like that in the CBD marketplace. I've been in this space for a long, long time, and it hasn't, it's gotten easier, but it also hasn't gotten easier as well. So it's just something that, if you are obviously planning on doing more and more marketing in the CBD space, one of the things that we always recommend is talk to your lawyers, right? Talk to the legal people. I am not a legal professional. Everything I say on this is from a marketing perspective. So Michael, if anyone comes after me, I'm coming after you. So just saying that. So again, really, really important, understanding the why and taking a really KPI and metrics or analytical approach going forward. So now I want to actually talk about one of our clients, Social CBD. They were acquired by Cadenwood. So they have another bunch of different brands that we support as well. But one of the things that I wanted to kind of talk about is some of the results that we were able to drive for Social CBD. So we've been working with them for some time. Initially, I talked about, being more of like a bargain brand versus like a high luxury brand. So one of the things that we did when we first came over and took it over was actually shifted their overall brand strategy, moving them away from doing continuous discounts and 50% off site-wide opportunities, things like that. And we moved more into a, hey, we're an authoritative voice. And a lot of that actually changed when COVID hit, because everyone started shopping more online. So then the brand started getting smarter and saying, you know what, people are looking for this amazing content. They're looking for, like, how do I use CBD? What is it like? You know, where is it being tested? How do I know that it's been validated? So we actually set up a bunch of flows that sends out the lab data directly to the customer after they've actually purchased the product. And the reason for that is the validation, right? It created a lot more social proof, also knowing that they've gotten some really, really high quality products. And it made sense for them to understand that, hey, this is an authoritative voice, and I understand that I trust this brand, because there is some stigma around CBD. Some of the other things we did with them was a ton of A/B split testing, right? So they were an awesome client, or still are an awesome client, and really give us a lot of flexibility to try and test a lot of different variations of different things. And one of the things that we noticed really early on was they weren't really pushing subscriptions. So that was an area that we really decided to say, you know what, we really need to start pushing subscriptions, but also took a different approach where those people who didn't go on subscriptions, what we did is we added what's called a replenishment flow. And this particular flow probably pays for our services 10x at this point. But basically what happens is, imagine they're selling a gummy bears or a drops or something like that, it has a 30-day supply. On day 26, we actually send them through an automation sequence that says, hey, you're at day 26. We noticed you bought 26 days ago. It's probably a good time for you to resupply or re-up your last order. And you know what? It works. Maybe it doesn't catch them on the first one. I think it's a 3-step email process. And by the third one, it's capturing, the conversions on it is phenomenal. So again, these are just kind of a couple of really interesting strategies. But again, like, it was understanding the why when we first took over social, understanding where they were, where they had come from, and then understanding where they want to get to ultimately down the road is really allowed us to define that strategy and come up with things like replenishment flows. We did a really cool 12-day of Christmas promotion last year where there was a bunch of different things. And a lot of it wasn't deals. They were just product spotlights, really highlighting certain key ingredients, talking about some of the benefits, things like that. So again, really taking them from a, and again, I don't want to say discount site, but from more of a site that did a lot more discount codes and things like that, to a brand that became a much more authoritative voice in the overall industry from a CBD standpoint. And we would not have been able to do that without a lot of these great partners on today's call, right? We're using, like, you know, SMS. We are using SMS now with them. You know, email, obviously, affiliate marketing, you know, influencer marketing, things like that. These are all things that, like, are super, super important. And I've talked many times, if anyone's seen me on different things, is I like 3 pillars, right? You have your, like, lead gen, on-site experience, and then the loyalty phase. So everything that we have on today's call really talks to you guys about the loyalty phase of the buying journey. And you guys have some really, really great people here on today's call that are going to talk about some really cool stuff. So I'm just sitting in the position where I get to use all this really cool technology and do some cool shit for our clients. That's kind of where we always start, understanding the why, understanding where we want to get to, and then again, using all these amazing technologies and tools that everyone's going to talk about today to implement those strategies. So, you know, if anyone is interested, obviously reach out to Arctic Leaf. We're happy to help and support CBD brands, even non-CBD brands. That's also fine. And then this way we can use all these amazing technologies to help you hit your objectives. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it off. And thank you, Michael, for giving me the opportunity to share a little bit about Arctic Leaf and some of the things that we do at our agency.
Awesome. Thank you, Josh. Yeah, no, thank you for kicking us off and giving such a good overview. And yeah, just to reiterate your point of starting with that why is crucial, right? And I think starting from there, it's where everyone should start, probably regardless of the vertical they might be in. But yeah, thank you very much, Josh. If y'all have any questions for Josh, send those into the chat and he can reply to them there. But next up, we have Emily from Springbig.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Michael. I'm going to bear with me a moment while I share my screen here. Alrighty, can everybody see my screen okay?
Good to go.
Perfect. Alrighty. So my name is Emily. I work for Springbig, been there for about a year and a half, and my focus is in the emerging markets. I'm a business development manager for them. Been in the cannabis specific space for about 4 years now, both on the ancillary and technology sides of the industry. And I'm here today to talk to you guys about Springbig. So Springbig is actually a cannabis specific marketing CRM. We've been around since 2017. So we've been in the market for a while now, and really just starting to do a huge push into the CBD space now that some of the regulatory changes have come down. Just to give you an overview of what it is that we do, we try and do everything from drive traffic before the sale, increase your spend, keep you connected with your customer base through a series of features and tools. Everything from compliant text message and email marketing to brand sponsorships. Additionally, we fuel everything generally through our integrations within point of sales and e-commerce companies. We're able to manage loyalty programs for cannabis retailers. And additionally, we have programs like our Buds referral program and our feedback reputation management program. And the whole point of this is to keep you engaged with your customers across critical points of their customer journey. What I'm really here to talk to you guys about today is some of the challenges when it comes to SMS marketing, especially in the CBD space. I'm sure a lot of you have noticed over the last year that it's gotten a lot harder to get in touch with people from an SMS texting perspective. This is all due to a bracket of regulations that came down called the 10DLC regulations. 10DLC stands for 10-digit long code, and it's a new texting system that uses standard long code phone numbers in order to give carriers and customers more transparency into who you are and the content that you guys are sending out. As you can imagine, in the space that we are in, once those regulations got a little stricter and people had more visibility into language around cannabis and CBD, people started experiencing issues with deliverability and getting their messages across to their customers. There are some benefits to 10DLC as well. So you actually do get enhanced deliverability if you are doing it in a compliant manner. Springbig ourselves can send up to about 4,500 text messages per minute in a 10DLC approved campaign. Also, we tend to send through one specific phone number as well for you, each individual retailer. So text marketing through a consistent phone number gives a lot more confidence from a deliverability standpoint on the content that's actually coming from you guys as a business. Awesome. So I'm just going to go over a little bit of a timeline for you guys as to when this started happening and what Springbig did as a result to kind of remain compliant in this space. So in early 2020, they started implementing the blocking of cannabis words. So we started using euphemistic language, saying things like infused treats instead of edibles. In October of 2020, they started the filtering. Oh, sorry, flip that. They started filtering a lot more heavily for cannabis content. In April 2021, the PIN code process for any campaign containing a URL and a text message was implemented. In June of 2022, we released dashboards, which I will go over with you guys today. This is the way that we work within the regulations for 10DLC. So we send pre-optimized notification messages that hit a customer's phone first, and then the core content of the message is inside a secure browser link called a dashboard. In September of 2021, we made a partnership with a leading spam filter provider, which was a huge differentiator for us in this space. This also gives us a massive leg up when it comes to being able to flow with the regulations as they change as well. And then in March of 2022, all of our Springbig merchants began sending from a single phone number or a group of numbers based on the size of their database. And this also led to enhanced deliverability as well. So we are the only provider currently on the market who has partnered up with a leading spam filter provider that works directly with two of the major US carriers. This is important, obviously, because as I said, we have insight into why carriers react to certain messages and provide guidance to ensure our retail partners' messages continue to get delivered. For an example, a couple months ago, we started to notice some fluctuation when it comes to Verizon providers and getting messages across to those customers. Through testing, we then learned that MMS messages started hitting the deliverability numbers better than SMS, so we flipped everybody to doing that. for a little while, and deliverability saw no disparity as a result. And additionally, this partnership also gives us the ability to scrub your database of any recipients who are reporting your text as spam, further protecting your guys' future deliverability as well. I'm now going to show you guys a video of what the dashboard process looks like. So I just want to stress before I hit play here that the importance of having a clean pre-optimized notification message with no cannabis or CBD content at all that hits your customer's phone first. This helps ensure the deliverability, and then we protect all of the content behind a secure browser link. So I'm going to go ahead and hit play, and please feel free to put your questions in the chat. All righty, so as you can see, a clean pre-optimized notification message hits your phone first. They click that link and they're prompted to a login code page here. The login code is sent either from their text messages or from their email, depending how they've signed up for your communications program. It's then input and they are pulled into the message. I do want to stress this is a one-time thing as well, because our platform remembers each device login code. So the next time they get a message from you guys, they're going to click that secure browser link and be brought directly into the content. By doing it this way, we not only open up the door for what we can do with the content itself physically, make it more engaging. We can apply static headers, bringing them to all of your other avenues for content. But additionally, again, you're protecting all of that core information behind that original notification message. Oh, sorry about that. Let me try to play it again. There we go. My apologies. Now, this all begins and ends obviously with gaining consent to communicate with your customers in an appropriate way. We do this through a suite of TCPA compliant data collection resources. TCPA stands for Telephone Consumer Protection Act. It was very early days, kind of in the same vein of 10DLC to protect people from spam, phishing, especially around times of, say taxes or political things as well. So we do a couple different things here. We can do text to join, tap to join, or dedicated QR codes. These are all driving traffic towards the secure join form. We have a little bit of flexibility when it comes to the information that we gather, but it is really important to pull everybody in through these in order to opt them in for consent to market to them. So that was everything that I have. If you guys have any questions at all, please feel free to put them in the chat and I will do my best to respond. Thank you again so much, Michael, for letting me chat about springbig today.
Of course, no problem. And actually, Emily, quick question from the audience. Slash myself. So are y'all the only SMS solution available for CBD merchants due to like the SHAFT compliance criteria and things like that?
We are the most compliant on the market as it stands. We hold a bunch of different accreditations, including being 10DLC compliant because of the process and the relationships we have and the way that we register our phone numbers. So yeah, I would say we're the most, yes, there are other companies out there, of course, who do good work, but I would say, and I am biased, but I would say that we are the most compliant solution on the market. And I'm happy to chat with anybody about it afterwards as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I would definitely recommend reaching out to Emily because I know a number of other email and SMS providers. They don't touch CBD at all, and it's due to everything. So, yeah, thank you very much. All right, Jimmy, take it away.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good little segue, actually, talking about email and SMS a little bit and the fact that some companies do and don't. And it's absolutely right. And we'll talk a little bit more about Sendlane here in a second, but we are 100% friendly to both cannabis and CBD on the email side for sure. And we'll talk about some strategies that we've seen on our side that are very well used with some of our very large brands, our CBD brands that we work with as well too, that are doing both email and SMS on our platform and how we're staying compliant and how we guide our customers as well too. But overall, we're going to talk more about email just because as we saw in that poll in the beginning of it, most of you guys are using email. So let's talk about that and talk about how you're using it for retention and making money with it. But before we start, real quick, who am I? I'm Jimmy Kim, CEO and co-founder of Sendlane. And why do I relate to you guys? So first and foremost, I am a former retailer. I used to own a retail store, brick and mortar, that eventually became an e-commerce store, actually one of the early Shopify Plus stores back in the day. I've also been a digital marketer since 2009, specializing in email. Most of my companies, this is my third company that I've built, but all three companies have relied on email as this primary driver of revenue and something that I purely believe in. And of course, I am the co-founder and CEO of an email and SMS marketing automation platform, specifically designed for BigCommerce and Shopify. All right, so email marketing is the core of retention marketing. I think everyone understands that. It means that not only are these customers the ones that you work so hard to get in front of, the leads, the subscribers, the data that you can get, but also the fact that you're using that information to ensure that you're keeping the people engaged and repeating those purchases as well too. So today I'm going to really talk about those 4 must-have automations for retention, thinking about the things that you should be doing and the things that you should be thinking about each and every day. And we're going to break down each one of those so you can look at it. And then I've got a little best tips things around how to start merging that email and SMS part together and the things that we've seen work really well in how brands are using email and SMS together in one platform. So retention now for number 1, obviously we all know about new promotions and we think about that and we always want to do new promotions. But I think what's really important to think about here is that, these are already subscribers and buyers already on your list, right? So these are people who are familiar with you, who understand who you are. They've opted and put their hand up in a lot of cases. So making sure that you're doing these promotions is really important, but also keeping them incentivized by making unique reasons why they should be on it. You should be doing different promotions and different offerings for your newsletter and your current subscribers and retention versus what you're offering on your website. If you're offering your website 10, 20% off, try to make sure that you make something different or alternate it. Maybe take the 10% down to 10 or get rid of it on the website, but make it feel special. I think that's one of the big things that you always have to think about your list is these are your loyal people. These are the most loyal. They're not just your anonymous visitors anymore. And encourage quick usage, right? Adding scarcity is very important. I think that everything should have a beginning and an end. We always talk about event marketing in this company, which is everything needs to have an event. And when you're thinking about promotions, it's an event. It shouldn't be an ongoing forever thing. It should be a quick usage type thing. So adding some scarcity to it is always important to these things and putting some time here. And we have a nice little example of a good, promotion that they're doing. They're doing 50% off all pet oils here. And they've got a very clear email here kind of explaining that. So in this example here, I wanted to kind of show another one, right? I enjoyed this one by Papa Berkeley because it was a new promotion, strong direct message. Obviously it was for $4.20, extra special deal, right? Special deal, bonuses, free delivery they're doing, limited time and targeted offerings. So another classic, great example of a new promotion as well. Then there's retention method number 2, which is upselling and cross-selling. We all think about these things and how important it is. And unfortunately, I couldn't find a good CBD one, but I brought up a different one that kind of shows you how and where you can kind of think about how you upsell. And I think people always struggle with upselling because they're not sure what they should do. And I thought this was a great example because it's utilizing probably some of the tools or things that you purchased within the business and from them already. And you're teaching you why you need to add more items in, right? Education is not, content is education in many ways. And education doesn't mean that it has to be a video or a how-to, but it could also be education on how to use your product. So the quickest way to increase your AOV, your average order value, right? Getting more people to spend more money. This is also a great way to also get members only and buyers only offers to them. I think I've seen some brands that have done some cool things where you don't get to see some of the products until you've made your first purchase and they start sending you those products as add-ons and upgrades. And it's a really great way to use that to get that cross-selling and upselling happening as well too. Of course, there's a classic product recommendation and of course, subscription and replenishment. We've talked about that a lot. I know everybody already knows, but with subscription, especially a product that's consumable like CBD, you always want to make sure that you have that replenishment as one of the triggers that you need to be thinking about and making sure that you're staying in front of them. Generally, from our data side of, millions and billions of dollars spent, what we see on customers is very simple. It's actually very easy to understand, but the days that most people spend the most money are on the 1st and the 15th of the month, and they replenish on products on the 30, 60, 90-day marker. Actually, we see a really interesting data set around the fact that most people make their first repeat purchase in 30 days, regardless of if it's a subscription product or if it's a consumable or a clothing brand or, whatever brand that you're doing. But we see about a 30-day cadence on people. I think it comes down to obviously spending habits and of course their paychecks as well too. So things that you should be thinking about with them. Here's another great example of another upsell cross-selling example. What else do people need to buy? One of the questions that you need to be thinking about when you're thinking about a great thing, right? What's the most used accessory? what's the most purchased or the second most purchased, and what is the product they'll most likely need to continue. Take a look at this. Again, great content. You know, you bought the CBD lotion. This is kind of talking about CBD. Then they start bringing up the CBD balm and stick and then tincture. Like, if you think about it, they didn't really upsell you, but if you started to use the CBD and you started to enjoy it, you start to realize, hey, there's all these different ways to use all of the ways to kind of benefit me. And so you've got to bring content, and traditional, like just hammering a sale doesn't work anymore. People want to be sold to. They want to buy with you. They want to feel like you're working with them and solving their problems with them together. So these are some great questions you should ask yourself as you're thinking about, how do I upsell and cross-sell people? Then we've got retention method number 3, which is the reorder of products, right? People want to be reminded. First things first, I just want to be very clear. People want to be reminded. I want to be reminded. Other people want to be reminded. It's okay to remind them. You're not bothering people when you remind them about their next order. Please use that, right? It shows personalization and care, and there's no need to hide it, right? I know the old thought process sometimes is that people want to hide it so they don't want to have the cancellation, the rebill happen. And, you know, you've got to churn. Well, if you've got a churn problem, you've got a product problem a lot of times. So you've got to make sure that you're looking at how to ensure that you're staying in front of them. Not to mention, it's a perfect time to get them to add a couple more things that are reorder as well too. So, you know, I love this one here. You know, we look forward to finding out exclusive deals, and it's just a little thank you. But here's a great one right here. I like Ease does it all the time. Let's get you to reorder. What do people buy? Well, we know that we've got to throw credits at them. And, you know, I'm a Ease user. I love this. I think it's great. But what you end up getting a lot of times is that you get it right below your typical replenishment time, your 30-day, your 60-day markers. They start sending you these things. It's like clockwork because they've seen it with their data as well too, just like everyone else should know. It's really simple data to understand, but it's a really powerful thing, because if you can get people to accelerate their purchasing habit or behavior, even better, especially in the world right now with supply chain issues and stock issues. Well, when you have stock, you got to sell it. So you got to make sure that you're accelerating and pulling that forward, right? So some of the things you think about reorder here: what else do people buy? What's the most used accessory, second purchase, and most likely to buy? So pretty simple. All right. And then let's talk about, oh, I missed one here. Retention number 4, which is the abandoned cart, right? The post-abandoned cart purchase as well too. Obviously everyone knows 88% of shoppers abandon cart before making a sale. They think about it, right? Timing is super important. Make sure you're staying in front of them, especially on a consumable. It's an impulse buy at the end of the day, a lot of times. So timing is important, staying in front of them and staying often in front of them. So do more than one email, sometimes layer with SMS. I'll talk about that in one of these next slides here in a second. And make sure you've got compelling copy, visuals, buttons, direct links. And of course, don't offer a discount right away. I think that's something that people jump right to in abandoned carts. Hold the discount. I think that's some of the things that I always see and teach within our client base, especially, is that you don't have to give discounts. People just need to be reminded. That's more than enough in most cases as well, too. All right. So here's a good example of an abandoned cart. It's direct and to the point, offering them an opportunity to buy the product they left in the cart and to point button to return to cart, and perfect use of social. I think there's a lot of things that are happening within this that you've got to be looking at, but I think that this is just a clean way to kind of remind people, and that's okay. That's all they really need to get started. Now, obviously you want a second email might have more on the brand, and the third email might have more instructions, and the fourth email might be about repeating this kind of email structure. It's good to kind of mix it up and kind of give those people different types of reminders and finding that pain or the reason why they wanted to order your product. All right, so let's talk about 4 creative ways that we've seen SMS used with email. And these are kind of different ways to kind of play with email. So first of all, one of the coolest ways that we've seen with email and SMS is simply using SMS to point people back to your most recent email. Don't need to say anything, avoiding all the shaft and trigger words. You don't want to get in trouble. So obviously one of the ways that we've seen SMS used is by simply saying, just sent you a cool email about our latest promotion. Check it out. You know, it works. We've seen it over and over again. We've got some large brands that are doing that, and we're seeing some great success, and we're seeing their open rates boost each time they send it because people just want to be reminded. It's a nice tap, right? You offer that SMS as a 2-way communication channel instead of making that just for your bulk, right? You can send an SMS and say, hey, you need help from us? Just send us a message back and offer it as a channel of communication. Then you've got SMSs for updates. I think people always love updates, especially the younger generation is always on their mobile phone. So your order shipped, your coupons ready in your email, things like that of just like update messaging works really well. And the last thing we've seen really well is to run a second store, a non-CBD store that you have, like a clothing brand that's tied to your CBD brand, but not directly. And we've seen a lot of great ways of just kind of merging and taking people through a journey, right? Thinking about funnels and building out, landing pages where they can understand what you're doing and driving into different places. So these are 4 creative ways that we've seen with SMS and email. I think it's really important always as you're thinking about how to leverage, especially that younger generation of people that tend to be more SMS driven, and how you stay in front of them. So that's my presentation. All right.
Awesome. Thank you, Jimmy. That was fantastic. Very insightful. We actually had a question come in from, it's anonymous, but they wanted to know, what are some outside the box but low-hanging fruit that they could change or add into their emails for better engagement?
I think it's content. It's always content. I think the biggest thing that a lot of people forget, and what the problem is, people think content is like this hard videos and art, but a lot of the times you have your content, what your use case of your product is, or the instructions, or how people are enjoying it. And that's all people want to know. They want to be connected better. They want to understand your brand better. And I think a lot of quick ways to add it is really just showing more of your authentic brand, like who you are as a company and who you are, and even the mission. I think one of the talks I always talk about is brand and mission. And I think too many people forget, people need to be connected to your brand to buy from you at some level, because there's an emotional involvement of purchasing. And that's something that's left or lack of in the market sometimes these days, especially for people who are just hammering with these promotions. Sure, Target can do it because they're Target, but you're not Target. So you've got to think like that and realize that you have to find your brand within that voice.
Absolutely. And Ian, I really appreciated your line on the perspective shift of buying with you, not just from you. And I thought and so I think, I guess one, example of a low-hanging fruit is to, in terms of content, if you don't have a ton of content yet, maybe saying that email, about your brand, about you, why should they purchase from you, like get to know your customer, let them get to know you,
Yep.
Make it a two-way street. Yeah,
that's it. People just, you don't get the same retail buying experience. You don't get them walking through your store. So you've got to figure a way to do it without actually having the 2-way. It's like talking to a wall, but hoping the wall listens and they come through it, right? So like, you never know.
fantastic. Awesome. Well, thank you, Jimmy.
Yep, absolutely.
And before we hop on to our next presenter, we're about halfway through the webinar. So I'm going to take a look at the Q&A. We've had a lot of awesome questions come in. And our first prize winner today is Peter Gray. So Peter, we will be reaching out with some awesome CBD products. You've had some great questions in the Q&A area. So for the rest of the attendees, if you have any questions, throw those into the Q&A area, and we'll get your questions answered and you might win a prize. So we'll reach out afterward with that. Now, next up, we have Andre from Refersion, and he said that he's actually going to do his presentation as a wrap, which I thought was pretty cool. So Andre, why don't you just...
I did not agree to such a thing, but thanks for the inspiration. I'll consider practicing that.
Well, I remember hearing that last time too, man. I don't know what you were talking about. So
can you guys see my screen?
I could drop a beat if you want.
No, that's not what I want.
All right, Andre, take it away.
Cool. Can you guys see my screen?
Good to go. Good to go.
Hey, everyone. My name's Andre. I'm excited to be here. Everyone's content's been great so far. I'm working at Refersion. I'm a technical solutions specialist at Refersion. I've been there for almost 3 years. And today I'm going to talk about how CBD brands can greatly benefit from collaborating with influencers to promote their products. So in general, CBD marketing. Marketing CBD products online can be tricky due to regulations, advertising restrictions, and competition amongst other CBD brands. So trying to use traditional or digital advertising with limited interaction also makes it very hard to explain and justify CBD to a new audience. But to get around these hurdles, some CBD brands have started turning to influencer marketing. Influencers are kind of a perfect solution for many of the issues facing CBD companies, since influencers speak directly to the right audience in a format that's conducive to explaining something to someone that wants to listen. Influencers can also use personal testimonials and their authentic connection to their audience to drive brand awareness and sales. Now, when some people hear influencer marketing, they might think of pay-per-post, which can feel risky if you don't have a good way to measure the actual influence on your revenue from these types of partnerships. However, pay-per-post is not the only way that brands can partner with influencers. There's a lot of alternatives, and low-cost alternatives could include providing a free product as an incentive, or like swag or something like that. In affiliate marketing too, affiliates are only paid after a customer makes a purchase through an affiliate link or code that's provided to them. So you'd only be paying commission on actual transactions. Paying for performance eliminates the upfront costs associated with pay per post and other marketing channels, and it results in a higher return on investment. Incorporating influencers into your broader affiliate marketing strategy also allows you to gain insights into which influencers are helping you reach your goals and which types and social channels are working best for your brand. So you might be thinking, influencer marketing sounds great, but how can CBD brands find the right influencers to partner with? We've got a few tips for you. The first would be to look at influencers and categories that align with your products. You can definitely get creative with all these. There's no golden rule when it comes to influencer marketing, but we would suggest influencers in health, wellness, fitness, beauty, pets, and lifestyle. According to Influencer Marketing Hub, the lifestyle industry has the greatest distribution of Instagram influencers. And while there's no cookie cutter definition, a lifestyle influencer can be defined as someone who posts about their everyday life. This candid look into an influencer's daily life makes their content relatable and authentic, and their audience tends to be highly engaged. When sharing content about daily life, influencers may often share tips and tricks related to health and wellness. We all live in the same world. There's the pandemic that happened. There's kind of a never-ending stream of bad news in the media, and it's becoming more important for people to pay attention to not only their physical health, but also their mental health. And this is where CBD could come in. Information about CBD naturally fits into content about health and wellness. Some CBD companies have even used influencers in realms such as dog care to reach their specific target markets. I think that came up earlier. Our second tip is to consider seeking out small influencers with moderate followings, but who have a very specific audience, one that is the most likely to buy from your brand. While it might seem like you can get a bigger effect by reaching out to the most popular social media influencers, the truth is we're right now living in an age of micro-influencers. Keep in mind that the biggest influencers on the block, they're always getting offers from different brands. They might want an upfront cost. Since they have the biggest audience, their audience is also typically very diluted. It might not be as likely to engage with you. On the flip side, you tend to see higher engagement numbers with nano influencers and micro influencers. They know their audience and their niche much better. They're also more typically willing to collaborate with you for a lower price. And finally, this might seem like a bit fundamental, but you should never forget that you should be looking out for partners and influencers who genuinely believe in your product and who are aligned with your company's values. You shouldn't be afraid to be picky and lay out all of your key criteria that influencers need to meet in order to work with you. If you're not careful, then you might get mismatched with influencers who are talking about CBD one day, but then the next day they could be talking about something that is a bit in conflict with your values. So once you find the right influencers and start growing your affiliate program, you'll have a lot of different aspects to keep track of, including performance and commission payouts. It can definitely become a lot. So using an affiliate marketing platform like Refersion, you can manage every aspect of your program in just one place. Refersion also provides insights to help you improve your program so you can scale and increase revenue. To provide a simple breakdown of how managing your program in Refersion would work, influencers would sign up for your affiliate program in Refersion. They would receive a referral link or promo code that they'd use to promote your brand. Commission will only be calculated for them after a customer that's referred by an affiliate makes a purchase either through the link or the code. And then you pay your influencers their commission owed just through a couple of clicks. Refersion does work with multiple CBD brands. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get a quoted testimonial, but one brand that's been working with Refersion for a long time is 3Chai. I don't know if this is the right word, but the products we're giving away are their products, so they're sponsoring the webinar, quote unquote. But 3Chai was founded by a biochemist. They strive to bring minor cannabinoids such as CBD to market. They've used Refersion for 3 years to increase sales of their products through affiliates, and they continue to analyze performance and optimize their affiliate strategy to grow. So yeah, those are the best tips and practices I can give you. I'll answer one question too. I think someone in the chat was saying, what about offering commission to the affiliate for 1 year so they push more subscriptions instead of single purchase? There's a lot of ways that you can obviously, finding affiliates is hard, but engaging with them is also a big part of the process. You can gamify the experience or stuff like that. If you have specific products that you want to incentivize, maybe if you have like a product release or like a sale going on, you can always up the commission on that specific product. One tip that I'll share that can be very helpful is that if you have like a tiered structure and you set like a very low tier barrier of entry just to like get a couple sales through the door for all of your affiliates, you could give out some free swag, something light like stickers or something. Because we do typically see that most programs, you have like 10% of your affiliates are doing all of the work and then the 90% are not doing anything. So that extra 90%, if you just give them an extra bit of TLC, you can definitely see that go a long way. There's a lot of other ways. You don't have to gamify it. You could have like a Facebook group or something where people are sharing, their experiences or sharing helpful tips. You just want to make sure people feel involved and, they're like a part of your program.
Awesome. Thank you, Andre. There's actually a number of questions around affiliates and such. We're not going to answer all of them right now. We're going to save some for the Q&A, but I want to do 2 quick call outs. One was from Sam, and they wanted to know, what if I have a current program already? Can or should we use this on top of our current affiliate program?
It depends on exactly what you're doing. You can certainly just migrate your affiliate program over into Refersion. We've seen people migrate from different platforms, or if you're doing your program manually, it can be easier to just put everything into Refersion. Again, it depends on exactly what you're doing. You probably don't need to use 2 different affiliate tracking softwares to accomplish the same thing. But if you ever reach out to us and explain your use case, we could definitely give you the best possible solution either way.
Sure. And all right, awesome. And then this one was from Stephanie from the chat, and she wanted to know, do you have any creative strategies for reaching specific populations, i.e. people with specific chronic illnesses? We recently got great word of mouth from a CRPS support group that found a certain strain that really helped them, and they want to continue reaching specific populations. And I was just now thinking that affiliates here and influencers in particular would be a great opportunity to continue targeting, because while it'd be difficult to target your marketing for anonymous people that you don't know, like with paid ads, SMS and such. If you had an influencer that spoke directly to those groups, that they talk about a lot about chronic illnesses, chronic pain, those would be great influencers to partner with and have them straight out to refine your messaging. Andre, I don't know if that wasn't really a question. I just wanted to call that out real quick because I thought it was a really perfect, just 1 for 1 right there. Although if you have anything to add,
that's a great question. Michael kind of hit it on the nose. It's definitely good if you're reaching out to those smaller influencers who are kind of like being a champion of your brand for a very specific niche. That's a good place to start. It's hard with influencer marketing. There's no golden rule, but if you find people that you want to put your product in front of, if you can get someone that you think aligns with your values and is a good representation of your brand, and you want to represent your brand, that's always a good place to start and see if they can target that niche. Again, finding influencers can be difficult, but if you find them, you just want to make them feel involved and make it really as much of a collaboration as you can.
Fantastic. All right, thank you, Andre. There's some more questions in the chat and the Q&A, but we'll dive into the rest towards the end during the Q&A section of the webinar. So next up, we have SJ from Justuno.
Yes, thank you. Everyone has been so great. I've learned a ton, and I'm excited to take this back to my clients and really kind of get into how we can optimize further, which is exactly what I will get into today. Are we good on my screen there, Michael?
It's really compressed.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah, that's better.
Oh, and I'm zoomed out. All right, great. So today I'm going to run through the full funnel on-site experience from a Justuno perspective. And so for us, that means optimizing different segments based on where they've come. So we just spoke about influencers and how that can help personalize any messaging. And that's exactly what you can use Justuno for. So we'll hop in here. And awesome. First, we'll hit on some industry averages. So these are really encouraging numbers to look at. For comparison, you see that engagement rate or opt-in rate at 9+%. The pet industry looks or sees a 7.4% opt-in and engagement rate. And the way I kind of look at that is pet industry, we've got a very involved and engaging customer base. People love their pets. So it's a good one to see and look at how they really optimize their experience and use that in the CBD space. So I think one thing for CBD is that it's a newer industry, and especially on site, right? It's different trying to build that trust, as we've talked about. So having that kind of ability to say, we know our visitors are engaging, so give them that ability to see an exit offer if they're leaving your site, and see a cart abandonment pop up if they're abandoning items or visiting later that day. So also what this tells me is that it can really lift us up to explore certain messaging and offers, and just giving guidance on site. Move this poll.
Sorry, SJ.
No, you're good. You're good. Okay, cool. So in this sense, as we think about engagement and how we're presenting pop-ups on site to progress visitors to that conversion in the end, we want to anticipate. So anticipation is the name of the game, and that can mean many different flows on site in that anticipation. So hop into our next screen. So first we'll look at that top of funnel, so new visitor experience. New visitor, that can mean new visitor on site, or maybe like new just to the industry in general. And that can mean you understanding maybe a bit more about not only who you're targeting, right, who you want to purchase, but who is actually purchasing. Is it that younger demographic? Is it an older demographic? So those two, they may not be the exact same. And those are just some questions that we need to ask. So in this sense, with new visitors, we are very much in that welcome flow mode. So just like Jimmy touched on with email, we can see that relayed really great into, oh, let me move this poll in. We can see that really great relayed or mimicked into the pop-up flows on site. And we want to look at where a visitor is coming from to really determine that personalized experience that we want to present. So we would look at traffic source to sync up with the messaging and the offers that you're showing there. And maybe that looks like you providing your anyone in your affiliate program their unique links and giving them a special code and calling out that specific influencer code and kind of what they use on site. An example that I wanted to share is in our examples here on screen, we see want 20% off your order, and then we show those radio buttons. So we're looking for a little bit more information about our visitor, which is totally in line with probably what you want to know and how you want to showcase your brand. Just learning more and really interested in the visitor. I think I liked how Jimmy noted, like, we want to be purchasing like together. Like, I want to help you shop, not just sell to you. So be right there with them. But in general, an example is we would want to create a welcome pop-up that's a lead catcher. And that could be anything like here we have email. We could have email and SMS if you're using springbig there, or we could do something like email and we could collect an Instagram handle. So you can actually, like someone touched in chat, we can use your visitor base, which hopefully turns into your customer base, to see who already has that micro base that you can tap into and reach out to and see how you guys can work together. And there's a lot of different ways to do that, which I just learned a lot about too. So I think that can also lead to a lot of testing before the holidays. So we'll hop over to our next stage in the funnel. So we're here still in top of funnel and then education. So this definitely deserves its own slide for CBD clients specifically, because there is a lot to educate on. There's just so much information, which I think as an industry, it's important for companies to be providing that knowledge and kind of set the tone for other businesses that are coming into this space. Because how someone has an experience on one site can influence just how they see the entire industry and can make it harder for someone else. So just a little tip there. And education can really happen anywhere on site. In these examples, we see one on the right, we have the commerce, so promotions being, products being recommended. And then on the lower side, we have American made being called out. And then we have top product CTAs to actually take them to. So for example, if a visitor is coming from an email campaign and has clicked through, but let's say they want to exit, we may show them this American made products with different products that they can be sent to, and also incorporate a testimonial or a review on the site or the whole brand in general. So anything to really drive that I guess, that relationship that you want to build and keep it going to the next level. So if they're coming to email, they kind of see that information continue as far as testimonials, reviews, or just images showing people using the product. Hop over here to our middle of funnel. So middle of funnel here, we are building trust. And in these building trust moments, not only are we relying on personalization to really get us to the next step. So, it's nice when someone kind of anticipates what you want after a long day of work. Maybe you want a little glass of wine or your favorite dinner, like that feels good. So we want to give that feel good feeling on site. And, we hope to highlight things like reviews, satisfaction guarantees at the right time. And you may have this, everywhere on your site. And where a pop-up comes into play is being able to show this at the right time on site and at the right moment for the right visitor in the way that they feel like they can engage with you or the brand or feel some sort of connection with you. So for example, here we have find a store nearby. We're also offering 30% off for a limited time. So we have a timer, some sort of a sense of urgency with that. And we're also giving the offer Trust 30 right then and there. So these are some different ways that you can work on that. An example with the store locator can be really great to alleviate any shipping concerns that your visitors have. And it also helps build that validity in an industry where visitors are not just concerned, of course, who they're buying from, but like what they are buying and what is in that. All right, we'll hop over here to bottom of funnel. So ideally, we've come to the bottom of the funnel and we want to look and address those unique segments that you can really guide to the next step, either by knowing what they need, knowing what they've purchased, or just any kind of customer data that you have on them. So for example, knowing if someone is a return visitor and how many times they've visited, let's say in the last 30 days, that can lead to strategies around average order value, cross-sell and upsells that are appropriate, content delivery, and even how you present your subscription options, which Smartrr will touch on in just a bit. So with all of this in mind, like these are some really great examples to showcase like a refer a friend offer. This can be a little tab that sits there for a return visitor that has purchased a specific product. You can use Justuno to target what category they've purchased or a specific product that they've purchased. Then we also see that middle image is the ship once with next auto ship. So right in the cart, whether it's a slide out cart or a cart page on desktop, for example, we can give them this option just based on where they're at in their flow. So I'll hop over to, oh yeah, this is my last slide. Great. So I'll pass it over to Smartrr to dive into that subscription experience and really personalizing even that whole separate experience for someone that is ideally going to become a long-term customer for you and an advocate for your brand. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions. I'm happy to top on a call or talk about anything that you would like. Thanks, Michael.
Awesome. Thank you, SJ. I actually just sent a quick link into the chat for more on-site CBD brand strategies. It's a recent blog by Justuno, so check it out. So yeah, let's move it on to our final, last but not least, rather, presenter, Shannon from Smartrr.
Hey everyone, let me just get into share mode. How's that looking?
That's good.
That's good.
Beautiful. All right, talk about some insights. This webinar has been fantastic. I'm so happy to be a part of it. As a quick refresher, I'm Shannon O'Boyle. I'm from Smartrr. We are the preferred subscription app by D2C Shopify brands. We help high growth brands such as Graza, Starface, Jolie, Way, increase their AOV, their retention rates, their overall brand affinity, and LTV through out-of-the-box advanced subscription options and the most advanced account portal on the market, in addition to unrivaled customer support. So I'm here today to talk about reimagining your subscription experience and how that can translate into some of the top marketing trends for CBD brands. I just want to lead with, we're super proud to say we're the first subscription app built with the end consumer in mind, right? We pride ourselves on our consumer first approach to empower subscribers, develop mutual relationships, and cultivate brand affinity. It's pretty clear we're trying to rewrite the book on subscriptions here. Gone are the days of subscribe and forget. There's so much more opportunity that lies in subscriptions, as you've heard throughout this webinar. And I'm excited to share with you what some of my favorite CBD brands are doing with their subscriptions today. So first and foremost, I want to introduce you to Rejuvia. They're an awesome CBD product. They are an oral CBD spray. It's really great if you're trying to go to sleep or be less stressed overall. And one of the incredible trends that we're seeing, and they're kind of spearheading here, that I want to highlight is leading with subscriptions and optimizing for subscriptions, right? So it's no secret, CBD is a fantastic brand, product for subscriptions. And here, right on their PDP page, normally you'd see one-time purchase as the first option. However, they are defaulting to their subscribe and save option. I don't recommend this to all products. However, for this webinar, for actual CBD specific marketing trends, this is something we're seeing across the board, and it's really, really effective. We're seeing stats like 2x subscription revenue in the first 90 days of switching over to Smartrr, which is no joke. And something we're very, very proud of, and something these CBD brands are well deserving of. But not only are they leading with subscriptions as the default option, but they're offering a layer of transparency, right? So they're giving you a little bit about what to expect from this subscription, the certain number of products, types of products, and the potency of the product. You can choose between 500 milligrams versus 1,000. And then also they're kind of setting the tone for the end consumer, allowing them to pick their delivery options in advance, right? So we're already saying to our end consumer here that you have full autonomy over this subscription experience, and you can set the cadence and the product to your liking and what's most conducive to your lifestyle, right? Again, this really sets the tone for the level of experience. And then, as I mentioned before, Smartrr makes it really easy to offer advanced subscription programs out of the box. So you can make sure that right here on this PDP page, you're offering curated subscriptions based on the product itself. Because some of you will offer different types of products throughout your portfolio, your product line, that will require different cadences and different types of subscriptions. So just keep that in mind. So I mentioned Rejuvia was really great to go to sleep. On the flip side, Joggy is an incredible brand we are so privileged to work with. They are a plant-based energetic. So they keep you awake. And they're all about making sure movement is as enjoyable as possible. And they offer normally CBD products are oil-based. Joggy is a water-based product. So it absorbs at 4 times the rate. So again, all about movement, all about the speed in which the CBD is actually hitting you. And as you see here on their PDP page, their product page, their brand experience is articulating exactly that. There's movement, there's animation. It's just an elevated brand experience through and through. Now, again, setting the tone on that product page is is very key here, but making sure there's brand continuity all the way to the back end as well. So here you have an example of the product page, but then you have an example of their account portal, and their account portal is stunning, right? All their products are still moving and all animated. It looks completely seamless from their product page. But not only that, like, is it offering that consistency and that true brand experience? It's giving their end consumer total control over their subscriptions and their subscription experience, right? So in here, we mentioned before, Jimmy brought up a great point of, sending an SMS out or a notification saying, hey, you have an upcoming subscription. This is a great opportunity for you to go in and manage it, right? Awesome touch point in the customer journey. Imagine having this beautiful brand experience, going in, being able to manage your subscription exactly how you see fit, right? You can go in, if you have too much product, you could skip this month's order. Maybe you're traveling, you could go in and change the address you want to deliver to, or you could swap out some products. And then also Jimmy brought up another good point too, was around the cadence, right? So it's like 30, 60, 90 is great. But when you're kind of just starting out in the CBD space, it's hard to identify exactly what the right cadence is, product over product, right? So we have a send now option as well. So let's say you ran out of product too early, ship it right now, send it my way. I loved it so much, right? All giving total autonomy to your end consumer while also delighting them along the way. It's kind of what this is all about, right? And I think the customer account portal is commonly thought of as this kind of management hub, but really what we can turn it into if you leverage it the right way is an engagement hub, right? It's a home base for your brand experience, and there's so much more to be leveraged within this account portal. So for instance, what we're seeing is 15x more sales over the lifetime of a subscriber for brands using Smartrr for a number of reasons, right? Turning this into a true engagement hub and rolling out the red carpet for your most loyal customers, aka your subscribers and members, is a huge opportunity, right? In here, Joggy's offering, yes, upsells, but they're also offering exclusive products, which is great for from so many marketing perspectives, right? A, you're delighting your customer. You're giving them a product only they have the opportunity to subscribe to. Or if you have a new product you'd like to introduce into your product line, this is a great way to do it. Your subscriber base would happily be your test trial right here, right? And then also one-time add-ons into the subscription are a great way to kind of cross-sell across your product line and make sure you're kind of bulking up your AOV and increasing your subscription values and your subscription revenue over time. So a few notes from Joggy there. And then lastly, hold on. Lastly, I wanted to introduce a brand called Groovy Butter. They're all about bringing a good mood and the good vibes to your day. And in addition to offering absolutely delicious nut butter, they have a beautiful product that's so easily giftable that I just wanted to make sure we touched on before I let us all go. So in terms of marketing trends in the CBD space, this is an absolute home run, especially with the holiday season approaching. Nut butter is a fantastic giftable product. So when you go into Groovy Butter's backend, you're able to, let's say, skip your next subscription or send now. They also offer a gifting option instead, right? So oftentimes the subscription session is at the end of the webinar, right? Because we're in that loyalty phase in the customer journey. This allows us to loop it all the way back around, right? Sorry, marketer on a marketing webinar, I'm gonna say it. Flip your funnel, right? It's real. This is the opportunity to do it. And again, leveraging your account portal as that engagement hub, as we said before, is a beautiful way to do it, a great way to create a brand experience for your e-commerce brand and your e-commerce customers, and also delighting them along the way. So yeah, that's a bit from Smartrr. And I think on this beautiful good vibes only brand is a great way to stop. Happy to answer any questions along the way.
Awesome. Thank you, Shannon. Fantastic. All right. Before we dive into the Q&A, one really quick, I saw one come in into the Q&A, and it was Evan, and they just wanted to know how long y'all have been offering CBD services or services for CBD brands. Smartrr.
How long? Since the beginning?
They said that they tried to set up a CBD subscription through Smartrr, and they're just curious when y'all started offering the option.
Yeah, since the beginning. Happy to chat more and talk a little bit more about the specifics of the actual program you're trying to run.
Sure. Sorry, I thought that was a different question. Cool. All right. Well, thank you very much. So now let's dive into the Q&A. We have a ton of questions here, actually. So I'll start at the very top. This was asked by Diego towards the beginning. And I think this one is sort of for everyone. And they wanted to know, given that the CBD market is fairly crowded and a lot of brands fight on who can offer the cheaper prices and reduce margins, isn't a good strategy to have really good branding, packaging, user experience so that you're not a cheap brand. So I guess, Diego, correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but you're sort of asking, focusing on, really high quality branding overall, from packaging to the UX, instead of trying to fight with other CBD brands on, say, margins and prices and things like that. So the question here is, what do y'all think about that strategy? This goes for anyone: Josh, Jimmy, Andre, anyone. Josh, what do you think?
So this is the best strategy. I mean, well, good branding is always important, right? There's a reason why companies go to branding agencies and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to do brand personas and buying journeys and understanding who your target audience is. So you're not and yeah, this is what I talked about at the beginning, right? Is understanding your why and understanding what kind of brand you want to be, right? There are certain companies that we work with, like I said, there's one particular brand that I know specifically in the bath bomb industry. They do not give discounts ever, like just hands down. They know their price is more expensive. Their bath bombs are more expensive. They just don't give discounts, but they also they advocate for their brand, saying they're the best, right? They're saying we're charging more money, we are a more luxurious brand, but you're paying for luxury and you're paying for a better experience. So it really kind of comes down to that. Obviously margins and money and all that stuff is factored. I was talking to another company, they do organic sunscreen, and it's $15 for 3 ounces of sunscreen. I mean, like, so if you think about it, it's like, okay, I go to the beach twice and that's great. But again, at the same time, this goes back even when I ran a network marketing company, and I really dove into subscriptions and 3 for free programs. Is you can focus on the 96% of consumers, or you can focus on the 4% of consumers. That's kind of the research that I've done. So while yes, it's a crowded space for sure. Obviously starting with a really strong brand, understanding your why, understanding who your audience is. It was kind of the same idea of another person asked, hey, if I want to, if I have a CBD brand for athletes or sports or pets. I love niches. I think that gives you so much opportunity to go after that 4%. You get highly, highly, highly targeted. And those are individuals that are looking for those types of products and are not afraid to spend for those types of products. So, and everyone on this call is shaking their head yes. So I think that I have to. What I'm saying is not completely false. So a lot of really, really talented marketers here who can probably give some insight. But yes, I think that brand is always really important. And then just deciding and saying, you know what, no, I'm going to hunker down. I have the best damn effing product, and I'm going to sell it for what it's worth, and I'm not going to discount that. And that takes, quote unquote, it takes gumption, right? But again, it's understanding your brand and saying that this is the best that I'm going to bring to the market, and therefore that's why I'm not going to discount it down. Right. So, and that comes again, like, Jimmy, I think talked about content, right? It's all about the content, right? So, validation, here's my lab reports, here's, the best quality product. This is how long the time from, the product is extracted from the hemp plant to the time it's infused into the actual product. Give the people the understanding of why your product is the price that you're charging for it. And there's a reason why people spend $3,000, $4,000, $6,000 on a handbag and $427 on a swimsuit. I personally wouldn't do that, but we have brands that are like that. So again, always starts with the why. I'm going to kind of keep coming back to that, but open to other people's ideas and thoughts.
Yeah. Josh, I think just to piggyback off some of that, I think when I think about brand a little bit and how you define yourself, I think it really starts bigger than just a brand of how you look, but it's where your story, your mission, what are you trying to do, accomplish? And you've got to ultimately figure out how you want to be remembered and talked about, essentially, right? That's the thing I talk about a lot. And then that really drives into your personality. Like your brand has to have a personality, a tone, a voice, the way they're kind of out there and exhuming yourself. Like I know everybody wants to build a premium brand in most cases because you want to be presented that way, but that's not always the best business case. So you've got to understand, what is your mission, right? Is your mission to go out there and cure a certain thing or really help a lot of people, or, you know what I mean? Like whatever that mission might be, I think your brand is defined through that. And different ways of presenting, like if you're the cheap brand and you're the cheapest guy in town, that's great, but you're just going to be that. You're going to be known as that. And that's okay if that's what your business model is as well too. So there's a lot. I mean, I think we could talk about this for like 30 minutes if we really wanted to get into it. So,
I mean, there's a reason you have like a no-name brand, right? Like we all know who the no-name brand is, right? They actually call themselves No Name. But I mean, that's their branding, right? It's literally a yellow package with a name. And there's no fluff, there's no frills. It's like, this is the product, buy it if you want it, right? Like that's what it comes down to. And then you have, Brad Pitt has a cold brew tea company, right? And it's $8 a bottle for cold brew. Like it's probably the best cold brew you've ever had, but like there's a reason that it's charged $8 a bottle, right? So it's just that you have it on all ends of the spectrum, and it's not an easy answer, right? Like everyone says, like, oh, like, how do I build a brand, right? It takes time, it takes thought process, it takes repetition, and even like when you come out of the gate with a brand, initially day one, like don't get so married to that where it's like, oh my gosh, like I can't change it. No, you can't. Like that's the whole point. Your customers are going to drive that change for you. They're going to tell you what they like, what they don't like. And that's valuable social proof, and take that into consideration, right? So there's a reason why companies rebrand. Like I think, so
well, actually,
I'd be curious to poll like how many times everyone on this call, like how many times you guys have refreshed your website in the last 10 years. Like we're all just like, oh God, like let me just run please, because I don't want to do that project again, right?
Actually, if you're comfortable sharing that in the audience, throw that out there. I would love to see that as well. But I
think mine's been in development for like 4 now, but so it just like keeps going. So
well, there's actually a follow-up question here that I think is pretty related. And they wanted to know if, like on the same theme, if it's an idea to separate the CBD brands, one for wellness, one for fitness, another for beauty, and one for pets. And I think Emily and Jimmy here, I would love to hear your thoughts, especially, in terms of, email and SMS, how that might work and how those different channels, and then also SJ. But yeah, if one of y'all want to hop in.
Yeah,
sure. I mean, I can. Oh, I was going to say, I can
Jimmy.
talk about it on the email perspective real quick, just real brief, and I'll let Emily kind of cover the rest there. But on an email perspective, obviously it starts with the tool. I know we're here with different tool providers. Not all tool providers can help you with that. We can, but not all tool providers can add multiple stores under one roof. So it depends on a tool set, right? And then secondly, I think that's a great idea. I think specializing and niching down is always going to win. I mean, you don't have to be the best in a really big environment. If you can find a small channel, let's say that your CBD is great for 40 to 60-year-old women who have multiple kids, like getting really granular on your ICP there, then you can produce a product that is focused like that. But I wouldn't say that you should go after broad segments, because then you're just going after 5 really broad segments, and that wouldn't really help you either. So I think you have to, if you're going to do it, you have to niche down completely down and understand who that person is. And well, honestly, that makes your life easier a lot of times, because you know who to talk to, what your audience, what the voice is, and being able to relate to those people. So that's my opinion around that.
Yeah, definitely. And just to echo what Jimmy said too, I think it's really important to find a tech provider that can not only help you facilitate communicating with those niche groups, but also breaking them down from a data analytics perspective and stuff as well. Really being able to target based on buying trends, customer demographics, and all of that good stuff. But additionally, being able to keep those groups separate, because they don't need the same marketing for the different products and different things that you guys are pushing out. So being able to not only identify those different groups and, to Jimmy's point, not to say that you guys shouldn't go down the niche route, but if you are a company that does have several different facets, it's important to then, like I said, be able to cater to those facets separately instead of necessarily, bulking out your messaging and your marketing for all of them overall. And I think it's important to find a provider to be able to do that.
Awesome. Thanks, y'all. Okay, great. So another question here, let's see, anonymous, but they wanted to know what, in particular with surveys that are sent via email and SMS, what types of things, like what are you asking your customers? What do you recommend asking to optimize the customer experience further? You know, what are the main data points that you should ask in a survey or a quiz that will inform you the most to hone in on some of these segments that you're mentioning?
I can answer at least part of that as well. So I would say, I think when people come to getting feedback from their customers, a lot of times people tend to stay kind of generic. You know, how was your customer experience? Rate 1 through 5, something like that. And I think what people need to understand about building out and A/B testing different parts of your marketing plan and your communication plans is filtering that based off the information you're getting from your customers. So asking them, you know, what would you like to see from our loyalty program? What would you like to see from our product line? What would you like to see XYZ as far as, you know, a certain feature or something like that? I think it's important to kind of go past the like, how did we do question and ask for more specific information to then, you know, be better the next time around as well.
Awesome. And actually, SJ, so I know you build a lot of quizzes on site and things. So this is not email and SMS, but when you're building out a quiz to collect more data about visitors and things like that, what would you recommend?
I would say from the on-site experience, like, email and SMS, we can kind of have maybe more long form quizzes there, but on-site, we can use that information like, are you shopping for stress or for sleep help? That can lead to us showing a product recommendation right then and there on site. So we don't necessarily have to wait for them to get into a flow, which that will help us, as they continue to come to site. But in that experience, as we have them on site for I think it was 4 minutes that we get to have these visitors on site, we want to see what we can do to push the conversion. So immediately maybe having like 1 or 2 questions, like Emily was stating, that help just to know more about what they may want next or what their experience has been with your brand or with that product in general can go a long way for that initial session and how that turns out.
Awesome. Thanks, SJ. Cool. All right. We got a few minutes left. If there are any final questions from the audience, feel free to throw those out. But one last one I see here, anonymous as well, but they wanted to know if there are any rules regarding social media, UGC, or influencer promotion like there are with paid ads. Are the same limitations in place, same compliance criteria? And I think this is a Andre question.
As far as compliance goes, I can't honestly say, but typically when an influencer or anyone that has an online presence is promoting for an ad, they do have to disclose if they have a relationship directly with the brand. Otherwise, they're just kind of like talking about like a product they like and they're giving their feedback. But if they're getting paid, they do need to disclose that. If you have specific wording that you need your influencers to use when they're describing your product or explaining how to use that, that's definitely a resource that you can provide to them either through email, or you could, whatever affiliate marketing platform you're using, you should be able to like save copy for them that they can always reference if they need to like describe your products in a certain way or how to use them.
Yeah, it's usually in my experience is that the brand or the merchant will provide some kind of a brief to the influencer. So like, best case is how to use the product. I think I gave it a kind of an example of like, negotiating that contract up front of how many posts you're going to get, especially if, with CBD, especially, it's not a product where you take it and instantaneously you're going to feel better. There generally has to be a buildup in your body. Again, talk to your medical professionals. But this is from my past experiences. So usually it takes a little bit of time to kind of build up that CBD into your body to see those beneficial effects like, anti-inflammatory and anxiety and stress and certain things like that. Now you can have immediate, but ultimately you generally see a longer tail benefit. So asking an influencer to do a day 1, day 7, 14, 21 post may offer you a lot more flexibility, because now you're like, okay, like, and then you prompt them with questions like, how are you feeling? How is your body? Like, are you sleeping better? Do you feel less anxious? Things like that. And it's just kind of giving them that guidance on how to interact and communicate or effectively communicate the benefits of your product, right? So make it simple for them, right? Like don't make, to keep it simple principle, right? Rather than and the nice thing about that is it keeps things consistent. So if you are working with several influencers across several different social platforms, the messaging is the same. You can try to get a certain hashtag trending, things like that, right? But that's some of the things that I've seen in my experiences in the past when working with influencers.
Thanks, Josh.
Thanks, Josh.
Perfect. All right. I don't see any final questions. I believe the rest were answered. So yeah, we have a few minutes left. So I'll announce our final prize winner. Our final prize winner is Diego. Congratulations. You've asked, I want to say 4, 5 different questions in here, all very good. So thank you very much. Shout out Diego. We'll reach out to you with your prizes after the webinar. Additionally, as we wrap up here, the panelists here are sending their contact information into the chat. Feel free to reach out to them. Additionally, I'll be sending the webinar recording out tomorrow, and I'll include all the partners here today, so you can make sure to reach out to them. So you'll be hearing from us. And if you don't, I'll provide that information. So thank you all again for coming today. I had a great time with y'all. A lot of great questions, so really appreciate that. And if all of our panelists want to say bye real fast, I'll wrap it up. All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Everyone.
Don't be afraid to reach out.
Thanks all.
Good day,
Thank
guys.
you.
Bye.
Bye.